So, I have a video of an online counselor, a marriage counselor, Sheikh Asim Al Hakim. He has received a question from a viewer that says that he wanted to take a second wife. He decided to do it in secret without telling his first wife. She found out. She decided to leave him. Let's see what a Mufti friend has to say about this, and let's see what sort of marital advice he gives them. You're going to enjoy this. Let's get into it.
Mohammed from Saudi.
The thing is that I am married, and I thought about having a second wife without my first wife knowing. But she found out, and she left my house, went to her parents, and is now asking me to, let her go. And I'm trying to convince her that it was a mistake, and and I don't want it anymore, or something like that. What's the best course of action for me? Because she thinks that I'm a very bad person, and some of the things she thinks are true, but I'm willing to work on myself. I'm really scared and everything, so being...
Okay.
So before we get into what the Sheikh says, online Mufti friend that charges 200 US an hour for counseling, a highly qualified, highly accredited, registered social worker, registered counselor. No, I'm just kidding. He's none of that. He's just a sheikh. He's a sheikh that knows Islam, probably has no clue about counseling, probably never studied coaching or anything like that. And what is he doing? He's giving advice for $200 an hour. It's up to him. But let's just look at a couple of things before we get into the actual content of the video. I'm looking at the comments here, and I found them really interesting. I'm a married woman for 15 years now, and I've been very fearful of my husband taking a second wife at the beginning of my marriage. I felt really bad to myself as this is made permissible by my Lord, and I had an objection to this in my heart. I prayed to Allah to remove this waswasa, this whispering from shaitan, let me free of this unnecessary anxiety. Long story short, the initial wife usually reacts badly because of such narratives, the society portraying her as a failure just because her husband chooses to remarry. Now the interesting thing is the sheikh himself also blames the wife and makes it sound like she's a failure if he gets a second wife, which is interesting. It's interesting he frames it that way. And it's interesting how all the women here are not happy about this, but let's just keep going. I'll read a couple more comments. I don't know why the second wife has to be kept a secret until the first wife discovers it. Stupid idea, because it'll only make the first wife resent the husband, make her feel worthless, disrespected, and have trust issues with him. Why not discuss the matter with her beforehand? Probably because he knew if he discussed with her, she would have freaked out, as she did. Another one. This is very dangerous to do in secret. Everyone will suffer. Instead, steadily approach the situation. I'm a believer, and I remember my husband joking about it, and I would get upset and angry. So you can see the women here are not happy with the situation. I mean, I don't even need to point this out, but even Muslim women struggle with this because it goes against the instincts of, this man is here to take care of me and to protect me and to spend his resources on me and to split the resources among other women. And of course, there's a chance that he'll eventually divorce his first wife, right? No doubt this situation is not allowed in most countries, having two wives. If you're married, you are considered monogamous unless you secretly do it and you break the law. Now let's see what the sheikh has to say.
Yeah, but advise me, what should
I will advise you, inshallah. Man says from Saudi Arabia, he wanted to marry a second wife without telling his first wife. His first wife came to know. Now she's asking for divorce. How can he convince her not to get a divorce and to come back and to believe him when he says that he will not do that again or attempt to do it again? This is, with all due respect, I'm like your father. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. You should not have attempted this from the first place. If you are not a man enough to get married to a second woman, don't even dream about it, because your first will come in your dreams and give you hell. This is a well-known fact.
It's interesting that the situation sounds like it's going against the grain. He's making it obvious that this is not an easy thing to pull off. Yet this is something that's allowed in Islam, and even maybe some would say encouraged to have a second wife, right? What he's trying to say is, if you're not callous enough. And anyways, let him continue. We'll get into that.
They have the power to get into your dreams, unfortunately. And ask me, I've been there, I've done that. No, I'm just kidding. So what is the issue? I get a lot of men in your shoes complaining, what to do, Sheikh? Ya akhi, if you did not weigh the pros and cons, you should not have attempted it in the very beginning. A man who wants to marry a second wife, whether in public or in secret, he has to be man enough to evaluate the situation if his first wife were to know. So if your first wife would, if she was to know about your marriage, what are the consequences? What are the things that may happen? One,
how is it that he's actually saying it's okay to marry a second wife without telling your first wife? Isn't that adultery? Like, I can't understand how this is not cheating. This is like cheating on your wife. Like, you literally married this woman and you said you're going to be with her, and then behind her back you're going and getting a second wife. Now, the interesting thing is this is no different than having a slave. Like in Islam you can also have slaves, right? There's no involvement of the first wife, and the reason he's saying that is because many scholars have agreed that you don't need her permission, you don't even need to tell her you're getting a second wife. Which means you could be like living in another country with another woman and she wouldn't even know. And this is not considered adultery in Islam.
accept it and stay home quiet, which is 50-50.
I'm pretty sure it's more like 595. Vast majority would not accept a second wife. I'm pretty sure.
Most women are sensible. Yeah, they will be a little bit depressed, but they'll accept it as long as he's providing a house and he's paying the bills and he's half of the time there. He's showing compassion to his children and to her. So she's just losing him a day, every alternate day. To me, that's a good deal. See, that she doesn't have to cook on that day. She doesn't have to wear new clothes or take care of herself. She could do her hobbies and whatever she wants.
Okay, dude just contradicted himself. Does she get to leave do the kids go with him? Her kids go with him to his other house? No, of course not. She still has a kid. He just said she still has to take care of the kids. How is this a vacation for her? A vacation from her husband? More like he's going and sleeping with someone else, and you call that a vacation? Oh, this is a good deal, he says. So would you agree to this good deal that your wife leaves you every other day and goes and sleeps with someone else? Of course you wouldn't agree with that, right? And even if you take out the sex part and you just said your wife leaves you every other day and you can have a vacation, would you agree with that? I mean, that doesn't even imagine like you lose your spouse 50% of the time, and sometimes 75% of the time, because now if you have more than one wife, it could be 66% of the time you don't see him, 75% of the time you don't see him because he has 4 wives. In that case, your partner is gone and you're with the kids. How is this a good deal? He's like, she doesn't need to dress up and wear new clothes. What, she's supposed to wear new clothes every day for her husband or something? Like, what is he, nuts? Like, who does that? Like, I'm going to wear new clothes every day. Like, no. I can do my hobbies. What, she can't do hobbies when he's there? What? Is she like a slave or something? Like, she has to like bow down before him and serve him and, all of this stuff while he's there, and when he's not there, now she has a vacation. Oh, she still has kids though, so it's no longer a vacation. I don't see this as a good deal in any way whatsoever for the woman, unless she's okay with it, which is different. If she's okay with it, it's fine. If this is consensual and everyone knows about it and this is a situation, okay, that's a different story. But here he's basically encouraging adultery, and he's saying it's fine. He's saying it's a good deal for the woman. Like, what?
50% of women are sensible. There are the other 50% that would, blow a fuse and they would go haywire. Now, if you know that this is an alternative and a choice, you should weigh the pros and cons, meaning.
So if you look at the comments, every single woman here is like, oh, this is tough, this is tough, this is tough, this is difficult, I don't recommend this, right? You should discuss with your fiancé before marriage. If that's really the case, it's 50%. Like, there's no way. There's just no way. Like, I've been in the Muslim community, and let me tell you, 50% of women would not agree with this. Probably 1 in 10 or less. The ones who are truly brainwashed, or that know that the only way that they will maintain the relationship with this man is if they allow him to get a second wife, meaning they don't really have a choice, but if they don't do it, he's just going to leave her. So that's probably the small minority. It's not 50%.
If you are in real need to get married to a second wife, and this is well known.
What does it mean you are in real need? Why would you be in a real need to marry a second wife? Like, how is that, like, when would that happen? Right? Like, I can't think of a situation where you would need a second wife. Doesn't the Quran say that you should only marry one if you can't take care of multiple, if you can't be just with them? So I can't see that this is even something that has to be done. This is totally optional.
For reasons this is not the time to disclose. In this case, you should bear in mind that if she wants a divorce, that you're ready to give it to her. Because it's her fault that you're looking for a second.
I was just thinking, this is such a sensible thing to say. If you want a second wife and your first wife is not okay with it, then give her the divorce. Just let her go. Then, of course, he goes and ruins it by saying because it's her fault. That comment was just saying that we shouldn't look at it as a failure. This married woman of 15 years is saying it's not a failure, and Sheikh is contradicting her and saying it's a failure on her part.
Wife. Maybe she's not fulfilling your desires. 95% this is the case. Maybe she's not taking care of you. Maybe she's always with her parents and with her family. Maybe she is nagging.
Oh my God, she spends time with her family. She's not jumping on demand to have sex with you. This is like the reasons to get a second wife? Come on.
She's impolite, disrespectful, never grateful, or showing her gratitude to whatever you do. Yeah, such a woman, you have to get another wife. And if you get another wife and she demands divorce, so what?
So what? You just have a bunch of kids with her and you're just the dad, but so what? She's rude. Apparently she's rude and disrespectful. She's not grateful. She doesn't jump on demand to have sex with you. She spends too much time at her dad and mom's house, bonding with her parents. Oh my God, you should just, so what? So what? This is a marital counselor? This dude that's charging 200 US an hour is literally telling people, so what? Just leave her. And what about the kids? How do the kids not have any sort of calculation in your evaluation? Do you not think of them at all? Just dump your wife because she's blah blah blah. Like, and this man contradicts himself because in other videos he says different things.
What has to be done has to be done. But if you know that no, she's a good woman, and I can't live.
What has to be done has to be done. What he's trying to say is, if you yourself want sexual diversity, right? You're tired of having sex with this woman and you need another woman. You have to have another woman. That's what he's saying. He didn't outright say it, but that's the underlying motive here. That's what's driving this entire thing. That you're not, like, you notice how it's all about me. None of this is about making compromise, developing together, working together to, communicate your needs to the other person. None of this is about, like, it's all about, I'm the one that my needs need to be met, and if not, like, screw you, go to hell, I'm just gonna leave you. There's no, like, this is not what you call counseling. Like, this is shameful.
Live with her. I can't live without the children, and I can live with a single wife. I can't get rid of the idea. So don't even attempt getting married to a second wife.
Okay, well, here he's being a little bit reasonable, and he's saying if I can't live without the children and whatever, don't even consider getting a second wife. So finally, he's making a reasonable point. It's too bad that this is like near the end of what he was saying. This is not even, the kids weren't even part of the calculation in the beginning. It was just like, so callous, just do what you want. You do what needs to be done. Be a man, Now he's kind of like, maybe you should think about this first, right? I mean, to be fair, he did say that in the beginning, that you should evaluate this carefully before doing it, which is again a good point. But his one-sidedness in terms of how everything is, the wife's fault and how everything is about the man, that's just deplorable.
So at the end, this is your call, akhi. How to deal with her, how to speak with her, how to, I wouldn't say humiliate yourself by going down on your knees and begging for forgiveness and giving promises not to do that again. This is at the end of the day, it's your call, but you have to weigh the pros and cons.
So that's the end of Sheikh Asim Al-Hakim, a favorite marital counselor who doesn't know how to counsel, who doesn't give advice that makes any sense, that makes it all about the man and not about the woman. Even though some women pay him for advice, he probably just tells them, I don't know what he tells them, be a good wife. Or in one of the other videos, I did hear what he told them, and he told this woman, if he's abusive, just ignore him. That was his advice. And he says, well, people call me an ass because my name is Assim, right? Ass I am, and I don't care. Like, that's literally his advice. His advice was so bad. It was that just ignore his abuse. Nobody should have to ignore abuse. If someone's abusing you, you need to just tell them, this is wrong, stop it, I'm not going to tolerate this, and I don't appreciate this. How can you just, tolerate abuse? And there could be kids there watching that. It's going to create resentment. It's going to create unhappiness. It's going to, make yourself feel bad. Like, why would you want to be in a situation like that? And why would you talk? That's the type of advice this guy gives. And this guy is popular as AF. This guy is pretty much, he's making good money and he has a good living. You could say ruining people's lives like this. And, obviously the Islamic injunctions are not helpful. They're not helpful to society. They're not helpful to humanity. We don't need Islam to make these one-sided male-dominated rules. If someone wants to have multiple partners, that's up to them. They don't need this one-sided framework that puts everything on the man. It doesn't help anyone, right? So that's all I have for today. This is your friendly ex-Muslim. I just want to say thank you to my patrons. Join now if you'd like to join the channel, or click on the Patreon link to donate, or PayPal. Thanks for watching. This is your friendly ex-Muslim Abdullah Samir signing out.